Palate to Palate with Robert St. John and Wyatt Waters is made possible by a generous contribution from Sanderson Farms. Additional funding is provided by this and other public television stations, and from viewers like you. Thank you.
So they gave us 4 seasons of this show. An aging hippie, an artist, and a fat, balding chef. And we got a TV show.
Hot dog.
Who knew?
4th time is a charm.
Yeah. So this is season 4. First season was Mississippi. Then in season 2, we went over to Tuscany, filmed over there. Season 3, we did Northern Italy, Venice, Bologna, Milan, and now we're back home in Mississippi. The idea for this season 4 just came. You and I are huge Beatles fans.
Yeah. That was one of our biggest bonding things.
Yeah. It's the first thing we connected with. I walked in your gallery one day, so we got an idea for a book. We started talking, and the conversation turned towards the Beatles. And it has been the constant in our working relationship, our personal relationship, and everything we do.
It's magical.
Yeah. So we're in Italy on this bus, and I thought, I was missing home a little bit, and I thought, man, it would be really cool to do this back home, to get on a bus like the Beatles did in the movie Magical Mystery Tour, which is not a very good movie, but it's a great album.
A great album with not a great film.
Yeah, my favorite Beatles album. And what they did is they just loaded a bunch of people on a bus and drove all around England. And so I was looking out and said, this would be really cool to do in Mississippi. And this is actually what happened. This is exactly what happened. We got out at the winery, and so Wyatt and I were walking, and on the way, I said, man, I just had an idea. What if we went back home, we loaded a bunch of people on a bus, and this is honest to God, exactly what happened. and I said, and he finished my sentence. He said,
I was thinking when we were driving over there too.
Yeah, and he finished my sentence. He said, and drive around like the Beatles did in Magical Mystery Tour. And I said, yes, exactly. And so that's what we did.
It was a telepathic moment.
Yeah.
In the vans, yeah.
And so that's what we did. We loaded a bunch of people on a bus. We stuck a bar in the back of the bus. We had a bartender. We started every day with Bloody Marys and mimosas. We ended every night with live music. And in between, it was a total immersion into Mississippi food, art, culture, music, and good times.
Yeah.
We're going to head into the museum and get a little air conditioning. And so we're going to be right here in the front area of the lobby. So you and I both love Magical Mystery Tour. It's my favorite Beatles album. Maybe not yours, but it's a great album.
No, it is a great album. Musically, it's maybe the best album.
Yeah, and so when you and I conceived of this trip, driving around Mississippi with a bunch of people on a bus, we didn't want to do a complete, blatant, and total ripoff of the band we love so much. And so instead of Magical Mystery Tour, is Magical Mississippi Tour, which made sense. But the thing is there were a lot of mysteries on this tour.
Yeah.
No one knew where we were going, where we were staying. They didn't even know that on the first night we were going to be in, Greenwood, Mississippi. On the second night we're going to be in Oxford. Third night, Hattiesburg. Fourth night. It's just pack. You don't have to pack formal clothes. Be comfortable and be ready for an adventure.
What you don't know is a lot of fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Mississippi Museum of Art.
We started the tour at the Mississippi Museum of Art, which is really great because there was a show there called Like a Hammer by Jeffrey Gibson. And we got the tour from Julian Rankin.
That's right.
Welcome to the Museum of Art. But what Jeffrey Gibson has done is he really merges indigenous aesthetics and his own traditions and the traditions of his ancestors and family with contemporary art practice.
The funny thing about that is we started the tour with Julian Rankin at the first museum. The last museum we went to was Walter Anderson Museum of Art, where he was just set to take over as the director. So we kind of we were sandwiched there.
There was some nice continuity between that, yes.
Yeah, he's doing a great job there.
He is.
He did a great job at the Mississippi Museum of Art. He's going to do a great job at Walter Anderson.
And so this is sort of on the flip side, is a Native American artist kind of owning his traditions and catapulting that into the contemporary landscape and doing it in really provocative ways.
And it was an interesting show because it used a lot of elements, the decorative punching bags.
You can't beat it.
So we're huge fans of the Mississippi Museum of Art. Wyatt had a great exhibition here, beautiful work. And I was just so happy that Wyatt's home state museum took the opportunity to honor him and showcase him. It really meant a lot to him to have that here. And Wyatt is now returning to the scene and taking people through other exhibits.
Speaking with my professor, Dr. Gore, and he said, well, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to be a commercial artist? Do you want to teach? What do you want? And I said, well, you know, I really want to paint. I just want to paint. And I said, but, you know, I'm not sure if I can do this. And if you know Dr. Gore, he said, well, of course you can do this.
It's a really good way to start this thing off. And so we finished that tour of the Mississippi Museum of Art.
Obviously, he was a Star Wars fan.
And the beauty of where the Mississippi Museum of Art is located is that it was right across the street from where we were having lunch, which was Cathead Distillery, which is actually right there. It's right across the street from the museum. The cool thing about Cathead, it's a national brand. It is recognized and awarded all across the country, and it's made right here in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. This is going to be cool.
When Robert and Wyatt first contacted us, a couple of months ago, we were so excited about how cool of and unique opportunity this is to showcase our distillery to this incredible tour that he's put together called Magical Mississippi Tour. I think it's a really unique and cool creative idea for Mississippi and to showcase all the unique things that we have going on in our state.
We're really excited to be a part of it. Come on, let's go take a tour.
They saw how vodka is made. It's a great Mississippi product. We serve Cathead vodka in all of our restaurants in Hattiesburg. And it's one of the, you know, there are a lot of, now you've got a lot of craft beers going on in Mississippi, and they've become regional stars.
So excited to have Robert St. John and the tour group stop by the distillery today. I think it's a great thing to get out and explore your home state and see what's going on in your home state, from the coast all the way up to the hill country, especially here at Cathead Distillery.
And that distillery,
it's also a venue.
Yeah.
They have a lot of outdoor concerts there and host a lot of things that bring the rest of the community. And it's not just there, it's a place for concerts and get-togethers.
And having worked with the folks at Cathead through the restaurants, they've got a true heart for Mississippi and their home state and what's going on here, and they are good players. They welcomed us with open arms and bent over backwards for our group. The group loved it. They had a vodka tasting. They really loved that. And then we had lunch with our buddy Malcolm White from Hal and Mal's, and they brought in lunch.
This is a great day for Malcolm White and for Mississippi. I am on board the bus. Well, not right now. I'm in Cathead Distillery, but I will soon be on the bus for the Robert St. John Wyatt Waters Magical Mississippi Tour.
We, as a gift to y'all, have Malcolm's book, which was just released. Everybody's going to get one. He's going to sign it for you.
These guys have got it laid out. Today we're going from Jackson to the Delta, and then I get off. But then off they go throughout the whole state of Mississippi and back to the coast and ultimately back to Jackson. What a great idea, and I'm just privileged to be a part of it.
It was a very Mississippi start. As you know, I'm a teetotaler, 35 years I've been a teetotaler. I'm all for it. It's going to put my kids through college. I own a couple of bars, a 4,000 bottle wine inventory. But so I was at Cathead and was mainly just taking care of business. While there were only really 2 people on the trip who were not drinking. There was me, and then, of course, thankfully, our bus driver.
Yes, I'm the bus driver. Thank you very much, Cathead.
But we all made up for you two.
You caught our slack.
We are off to a good start. This is fun.
Roll up.
After the meal, Malcolm signed his book. We had another gift for the guests, a piece of Mississippi.
Yeah, and then we loaded Malcolm on the bus. Nobody was expecting that. We loaded Malcolm on the bus, and he gave a talk all the way. I think we dropped him off in Yazoo City somewhere. I don't know if someone was there to pick him up, but I know we dropped him off.
I hope he made it home.
Yeah. And so on the way up, he talked about the same thing: Mississippi art, Mississippi culture, the Mississippi experience, and then his experience with not only the Howlin' Mouse, but with the Mississippi Arts Commission and with Mississippi Tourism. So he has been a cultural ambassador for Mississippi for more than 3 decades, and is still today one of the best proponents we have out there that's carrying the flag for this state.
One last thing I'll say is, and Robert's, he's bitter about this, is that Wyatt was the Grand Marshal of Howe's St. Patty's Day Parade several years ago.
Fixing that this year.
For several years ago. But this coming year, Robert will be the Grand Marshal.
It's about time. Took him long enough.
And the theme is 2019, a magical mystery tour. And people say to me all the time, where do you come up with those themes? Well, look in the mirror and you'll see where I came up with this theme.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Well, we do hope Malcolm made it home, because we love Malcolm. But we got everybody in the bus, and then we headed to the B.B. King Museum in Indianola. It was a lot of fun.
Love that place.
This is actually our 10th year, and we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary this year. And so we're glad that you decided to come visit us.
So we hit the B.B. King Museum. That was the second museum on the first day, really within a matter of hours. We would hit 8 museums over the course of this trip, and we had already knocked out 2. There in Indianola is a true showpiece, a great monument to a great Mississippian's life. B.B. King never forgot his roots, ever. And Indianola has done a good job in preserving his legacy and preserving his music. He brought blues to the mainstream, and I don't say that in a negative way at all. I say it in nothing but positive, in that he turned more people on to the music that came straight from Mississippi.
The first time I was in Europe, I walked into the largest music store on the Champs-Élysées, and who was I hearing? B.B. King. The blues is a matter-of-fact thing in the rest of the world. We've caught up with that, and people like B.B. King who've given back and come back here, they did it when they weren't always as greatly appreciated. Yeah. It's so great to see a museum like that in his honor.
So B.B. King every year came to the Medgar Evers Festival in Jackson, and while he was in the state, he would come down to Hattiesburg and play at the Hi-Hat Club. And I used to go every time he played at the Hi-Hat, which is one of the clubs that was on the Chitlin circuit that would get Muddy Waters and James Brown and all those guys. But B.B. King would play a show. It was a really tight space. And after the show, he would sit on his tour bus, and as long as people would come and go on and wanted an autograph or a picture, he would sit there.
I would bring albums. I've got 24 albums signed by B.B. King on his tour bus. He was just gracious. He would talk, and it's the first time I saw someone eat a catfish sandwich. You know about catfish sandwich? He was eating.
Tell me about.
Yes. It's 2 pieces of white bread and a whole catfish with the bone in. And he was eating that, and I remember trying to think,
need that white bread
what
to
do
get
you
that
do
bone
with it?
down.
But he was eating the bones, I think, or either biting on it and doing.
He was so gracious, and he was so nice, and he would stay on that bus till the last person came. And I've still got the guitar pick he gave me, and I've got the photographs.
And so then we went to where he's buried. And I didn't know this, but my absolute favorite B.B. King song that came out in the early 80s is called Take It Home. It is on my list, in my will, as one of my funeral songs. The interesting thing about that, there on the gravesite is the lyrics are a line out of Take It Home. Yeah, I agreed with that, and I could identify with that. It's a great song.
That was exciting. The B.B. King Museum was wonderful, but we had no real idea how much we were in store for, because we knew something was coming. We didn't know exactly what it was like.
All day long, there had been a little bit of hush. The beauty of this trip is that every community we went to went all out and rolled out the red carpet. And so we pull into Greenwood, we cross the river, and we're turning left to go to the Alluvian Hotel where we were staying. And as the bus got closer, they started partying, and the bus turned, and when the bus turned, there in front of the Alluvian Hotel was the entire Mississippi Valley State Marching Band. Unbelievable. Bam, and the sound that came out of that. The mayor was there to welcome us. Other people from the town. It was just blew everybody away. The band was playing to welcome me. I've never had a welcome like that in my life. And they just played a concert out in the street.
And I know as you go further into Mississippi, they're going to say they're the heart of the Mississippi Delta. No, Greenwood is the heart of the Mississippi Delta.
The mayor gave a little speech, and she welcomed us, and it was a very, very special thing. And afterwards, people said, "I don't know how you're going to top this." We were 5 hours into the trip, and people were telling us, "I don't know how you're going to top this," but we topped it.
I know. They would say that every time. You go here, and you go here, and here. It was great. It was a proud Mississippi moment.
So the band played for, 10, 15 minutes out in the street. Those kids took off a school day from their schoolwork and everything that had to go on, hopped on a bus, drove into Greenwood to do this concert for us. We are eternally grateful to the Mississippi Valley State Marching Band and their program for doing that. And then so we loaded into our hotel on the first night, the Alluvian, which you and I have done a lot of things up there.
Great hotel.
Yeah, with Viking, and over the years, last 16 years, we've done a lot. We love that hotel. It's beautiful. And our mutual friend, Brother Bill Dunlap, has an amazing painting right there in the lobby.
He's got this wonderful Mississippi landscape with his iconic Mississippi dog right there, and it's painted in such a way that makes always want to kind of go, because it's tilted just a little bit. It's really, it grabs and holds your attention because of that.
When we were planning the trip, we tried to cover all bases with food. We wanted to do fine dining, we wanted to do rustic, simple. In the middle, we wanted everything to be very representative of Mississippi cuisine. And we were in Greenwood, and that's why we went to Lusco. It's one of those classic Delta restaurants, and it's one that I've never been to, and so I'm excited too. I went to Lusco's, and they call them booths. Yeah. So in the Delta, that's considered a booth. It's a very Delta thing, because what happens is people people kind of visit each other's booths. And, most of the conversation in the Delta over at the dinner table, about 50% of it consists of who's related to who.
And it's that kind of place where you don't go to, sometimes you go to restaurants to be seen.
Yeah.
With the booths, you go to not be seen.
That's right.
We still have booths because people really like their private dining.
This was my first time. I had always heard about Lusco's. I'd never been there. So we had catfish, we had steak. It was a very Delta dinner and a good start
meal.
To the trip. Yeah.
Okay, we're eating a lot and things are moving right along, but I have not painted yet. So that evening we had one more surprise for our guests.
Time for the concert, ladies.
Yes, sir. We're going.
You and I are huge fans of Eden Brent.
I love
and
her work. Yeah.
to finish the day,
I got a chance to paint Eden, so that was fun.
And so we had Eden set up in the lobby of the Alluvian Hotel on that grand piano they have there. She owned that room.
Great songwriter, great performer.
She really, really is. She's the queen of the Delta blues.
I would say that.
Ain't no good news, got the Mississippi Flatland blues. So I went out to Boeing, I thought I was flying high. They shut down the solar parks, left me high and dry. Got the Washington County, my factory's shut down blues. Ain't no good news, got the Mississippi Flatland blues.
When I paint, I like challenges. The challenge that evening was not just painting a moving subject, because she was pretty animated. The challenge was also the lighting. The lighting was, there was colored lighting around, so I had to accommodate that. And I couldn't really tell what I was painting exactly because I was also immersed in that light. I really got a good look at it later.
I didn't think about that. I guess that makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
And people were so satisfied with the day. I'm sure they had that kind of sleep you had when you've had just way too much fun.
Yeah.
It was a good kind of exhaustion.
True, and you don't get a better sleep than you do at the Alluvian. They got fine bedding at the Alluvian.
Got the children sitting here all alone. With the Mississippi blues, Mississippi Flatland blues. Here's some real boogaloo for you.
It was a great time. I mean, that's one thing I noticed about it, how much fun these people had visiting their own state. So many people said they hadn't been to the places we'd visited.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had, and that came from, in my mind, you had traveled around Mississippi a lot more than I had when you and I started working together over 20 years ago. Just traveling and painting and doing, and I'd been around Mississippi, but I had been hitting the high points. And so when you and I started working together, we started going to some of these out-of-the-way places.
Gritty and a lot of local charm, stuff that maybe doesn't get all the way across the state all the time.
Yeah.
Things that are behind the scenes in Mississippi.
That's right. And so, and that's what we did. And we had a blast. The perfect ending to a perfect Mississippi day.
Mississippi blues.
many of the paintings seen on today's program are featured in the A Mississippi Palate Cookbook. This beautiful volume also includes Mississippi heritage recipes. A Mississippi Palate Cookbook. Palate to Palate with Robert St. John and Wyatt Waters is made possible by a generous contribution from Sanderson Farms. Additional funding is provided by this and other public television stations. And from viewers like you. Thank you.